Yo, 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 yo. What is going on? What's going on? What's going on, folks? How we doing? Happy Monday. Hopefully everybody is having a fantastic Monday to start to their week. The boy Walcott Mart is in the building. And hey, y'all know what it is. For the next 98 minutes, we are going to talk sports. Because the sports world is never a dull place. As you know, we just got to recap a couple of things. Of course, we will preview tonight's Monday Night Football game. We got the Dirty Birds. The Atlanta Falcons got off to a bad start against Pittsburgh last week. They're 0-1. They're looking to get a W under their belt, get their first win of the season, as the Eagles play host to them, the Philadelphia Eagles. After winning in Brazil, they get to finally actually have a home game in Philly, and they play host to the Falcons. We'll preview that. Of course, we'll definitely preview some NFL action in week 2. But let's start right here. Because it is week 3, just past this weekend of some college football. All right. Hey, shout out to my Mizzou Tigers. Had a real good game with Boston College. I think I wasn't expecting that. I know Boston College was ranked, but and a lot of people were like, "Oh man, that was a lucky win for Boston College against Florida State," and I don't think so. Obviously, Florida State, who is now 0-3. Boy, they turning it on Mike Norvell down there in Tallahassee. Boy, they want that man up out of there. Boy, they want him up out of there. And I'm like, man, they, let homie live. Look, I get it. You're not happy that the team's 0-3. I get it. I understand it wholeheartedly. But damn, they over there treating that man like he didn't lost his whole time since he's been at Florida State. And that's wild. That's wild behavior. Matter of fact, Florida State not good right now. Florida isn't good right now. The only team in the Sunshine State that has any chance to brag is look like the U. Look like the U is back in action. They off to a fast start. They scoring points like it's nobody business. And yes, Cam Ward should be in the Heisman talks right now. He should be, because he's balling. He is balling. All right. He's doing fantastic work down there. But as y'all saw, man, Georgia, they had even struggled. They struggled at number 1. The number 1 team was struggling with Kentucky, who wasn't ranked. And, they had to come down to the last little bit. And, hey, I think what it was is that, Kentucky, when they see a number 1 ranking by your name, they're in the SEC too. They weren't going to just lay down and just let Georgia do whatever. And they didn't. There was at points in that game where I thought they was just going to close it, but they weren't able to. But at the end of the day, when you're the number 1 team in the country, you're going to get your best shot from everybody you play, because somebody wants to beat a team that knocks you off. That's just what it is. I mean, absolutely, that's just what it is. But they came out and prevailed, but it did not change how people saw that game, especially your voters who do the rankings. They end up moving Texas to number 1. All right, and it was which I'm not mad at Texas moving to number 1. But their quality of opponent, I don't think it compares to what Georgia did. But hey, I don't make those decisions, y'all. Speaking of Texas, Quinn Ewers, who was a early Heisman candidate and was playing like it, so left the game against Texas San Antonio with an abdomen injury. They're saying he's day-to-day right now. They're not expecting a serious injury or anything lengthy from that situation. but we finally got to see Arch Manning, and not in garbage time because he had to come in during backup duty because of the injury to Quinn. And I gotta say, man, when I saw how good Arch Manning played, and he's been sitting on the bench for the last couple of years, I think we got to put more respect on Quinn Ewers. Because Arch Manning looked good. He looked good. But the fact that he hasn't been able to get to the starting position, and he's only starting now because of injury, I think that says more about Quinn Ewers. That shows you how good he is. That shows you how much the team believes in him, how much Steve Sarkisian believes in him. I think that matters. But I don't think Texas is going to miss a beat. Texas has shown so far in the first 3 weeks of football that they ain't scared of nobody. They're going to give the best effort, and they're going to ball out. They're going to ball out. They're going to do their thing. Matter of fact, I don't think it changes anything of Texas. I don't think it changes anything at all. But I got this clip. Let's listen to what Paul Feinbaum had to say about Texas' chances now with Arch Manning. I don't think it changes anything, but I'm always interested to hear what good old Paul Feinbaum, the mouth of the South, has to say about, certain situations like this. Let's take a listen.
Long runs here. How realistic are the Longhorns' title hopes if it's Arch Manning under center the rest of the way?
I don't think they really change. I think he is equal to Quinn Ewers in terms of what he can do. Now, the one thing he doesn't have is the experience. And what would be maybe even more remarkable is that the Heisman favorite at this moment in time gets replaced and doesn't get his job back. I think he will get his job back because that's the way Sark rolls in Austin. But I don't think it really matters who the quarterback is in Austin. They are a really outstanding team, and they'll probably be the number one team in the country by the end of this day.
Paul, there's one thing that I would say, though, and that is that the experience could matter. Because when you think about the quarterbacks that he'll have to beat to win a national championship, you've got guys like Jason Milroe at Alabama, Carson Beck at Georgia, Jackson Dart at Ole Miss. These are the kinds of quarterbacks that he'll have to face and at least match in terms of production. And they all have multiple years of experience. Arch Manning hasn't started a game yet. So we'll see if all that talent and that foundation that we talked about that he's been building over the last couple of years is ready for that kind of game.
Okay. I'm actually kind of surprised that no, I think it's realistic. I'm not surprised that Paul Feinbaum kind of said the same sentiments that I just had, because Texas is looking that damn good. Overall as a team. I definitely agree with it shouldn't change his title, Texas's title opportunities, or changes how that. I understand what him and the other analysts had to say about the experience. That is a true fact. I can agree with that wholeheartedly. Have no issue with that, because that's the unfortunate part when he's been sitting behind Quinn Ewers, is he's not getting the reps. He's not getting the experience of being in the starter role. He's not getting the experience to go against those tougher teams, stiffer competition. Obviously, he's going to start this week. They got University of Louisiana Monroe. Again, that's not a true measuring stick opponent, but you do want to see good things as they takes on ULM. You know what I'm saying? When he goes against ULM, he can't be sloppy. He can't be turning the ball over, because that doesn't give not only your fan base hope, that doesn't give your coach belief in you, that doesn't do Arch Manning anything. But I will say this. I understand the experience part, and it might not show up this week, but looking at the rest of their schedule, you got Mississippi State, so you're starting your in-conference play the 28th, next weekend. Not that would be this weekend. No, I'm sorry. Next weekend. That'll be next weekend. All right. So yes, you gotta, maybe hopefully he get all the kinks out against ULM, practice and he be ready. If not, Quinn Ewers is ready for Mississippi State. Of course, you got the Red River rivalry that they got with Oklahoma. That's on the 12th of October. That's coming off a bye week. So I don't know if Quinn Ewers is back in the starting position or not. Of course, Georgia, that's going to be a tough one. Vanderbilt, I'm not worried about if Arch Manning was playing that game. Florida, the way that Florida's looking right now, I wouldn't be worried about him taking on Florida. Arkansas is down the road. That might be a little tough or stiffer competition. And then, you got Kentucky. We just saw them take the number one or former number one team to the brink of now number two team to the brink of defeat. And then, of course, you finish off with your other rival in the state of Texas, Texas A&M, who just entered the top 25. So there is some stiffer competition on this schedule for Texas if Arch Manning was to be the starting quarterback. So here's the conversation that we must have. Say Quinn Ewers is back and healthy after the University of Louisiana Monroe game, and then you got Mississippi State. If Quinn Ewers is ready, obviously, to the clip that we just played, Paul Feinbaum thinks that he'll go back to Quinn Ewers because that's how he rolls. Me personally, I would let Arch Manning play that Mississippi State game. Because then you can say, oh, he played in conference competition, stiffer competition besides University of Texas San Antonio or University of Louisiana Monroe. I can live with what would happen if he played against Mississippi State because, again, the team is loaded with talent. Let Arch Manning get a chance in that experience against tougher teams. But I will say this. If Steve Sarkisian is going to go back to Quinn Ewers, I would do it right before the Oklahoma game because you're coming off a bye week. Give Quinn Ewers, if he's a Heisman candidate like everybody's saying he is, go ahead and let him sit, get 100% healthy as best as you can, be ready for your biggest rival in Oklahoma, and then get ready for the rest of that stiff schedule that you got. Because after Oklahoma, you got to turn around and get Georgia. You already know what it is. I can understand putting Quinn Ewers back in at that point in time because you want that experience. He's already showed that experience that he can go to a big house in Michigan on the road and beat Michigan. He's already shown last year he can go into Tuscaloosa and go beat an Alabama. So I would trust Quinn Ewers in that starting position more than Arch Manning. But I wouldn't be mad if you kept Arch Manning in, especially depending if you keep him in against Mississippi State. He blows Mississippi State out the water and throws for crazy numbers. You might have a quarterback controversy on your hand. I don't know if you necessarily will, but I think you got to at least have that conversation. Do I roll with the hot hand or do I go with my proven vet who has been doing his thing for us for so long? So you can really look at this thing for both ways. It's really not a bad situation for Texas to be in, if you ask me. But no, hey, Texas, I wouldn't worry about the injury to Quinn Ewers. You're in great hands if you have to go to Arch Manning. Hey, he made all the throws on Saturday. He made all the throws. And of course, you saw that 67-yard run that he had for a touchdown. Put a little safety on skates. We damn sure didn't see that athleticism from none of his peoples. Didn't see that from Cooper. Damn sure ain't seen that from Eli Payton. Ain't seen that from him. He maybe Archie, because Archie was a little bit more mobile quarterback when he was playing in the NFL. But no, man. Hey, the fact that Arch Manning had to been sitting for the last couple of years, that says a lot how good Quinn Ewers is. So it's not a bad situation to be in. What else had happened over the weekend that had went down? Really didn't see any major upsets, really. Really didn't see the top 25 really change so much. One thing I do know, there's a couple of teams that you got to keep your eye on. You got to keep your eye on them Tennessee Volunteers. Man, they looking good right now. 3-0. They got a tough matchup against Oklahoma this week in some SEC play. I think that might be a matchup of the week. That's going to be a good game. Obviously, you know, I might be a little bit biased, but I'm not biased in this take. You better watch out for my Missouri Tigers. All right. Cook, he's been a starter for the last couple of years. He's a veteran on that squad. Of course, you can't forget about Luther Burton. I love the running backs that the Missouri Tigers got. I got to shore up a little bit on your defense, just a tad bit. Obviously, you know, had to come back and play and win that game against Boston College. But, man, Luther Burton is damn sure a top wide receiver that will be in the draft next year. Wise, a solid number 2 wide receiver. Could possibly be a number 1 on other teams. I mean, look, it's the college football world is coming off to a good start. There's some good things happening, and hey, we just gonna keep on looking at some of these things that are going down. But I know for one thing, them Florida Gators, them Florida State Seminoles, y'all better get it right, because I'm trying to tell you, boy, hey, they was booing y'all. Hey, they, especially in Florida, they was booing Napier. Boy, they was booing him down in Gainesville. Texas A&M came there and put a whooping on them boys. So I mean, it was, man, it was not good. I mean, and Napier is now 12-16 at Florida, and he's lost the last 12 of his 15 games. And that's against power. That's against the power conferences. You know, your Big Tens, your SECs, your ACCs, your Big 12. I wouldn't even count Pac-12 in that no more, because they only got really, as of right now, only like 2 teams under their conference. I know they're adding more teams to the conference, but they won't be able to be added to the conference next year. But no, man, I mean, it ain't been good. It ain't been good. I mean, they're already talking about possibly buying that man out. And listen to this. If Florida was to fire Napier, his buyout would be $26 million. I don't know about y'all. I'm in the wrong business. I need to go start coaching somewhere, and hopefully I can blow up and get one of these college contracts, because there's coaches that's getting fired and then they severance packages is crazy. Y'all remember Jimbo Fisher, when he got fired from Texas A&M, his buyout was $51 million. That's how much he had left on his contract. Imagine getting fired and you get rewarded with $51 million. I've been fired for more, and I was left with trying to figure out how to take care of an 8-month-old baby. That was my reward the time I got fired. I'm in the wrong job. I'm in the wrong field. I'm in the wrong place. I don't know about y'all, but I'm about to go find out what's really good on how to get one of these coaching jobs. That's what I'm about to go do. This is wild. This is wild. But no, it ain't been good for Napier down in Florida. It ain't been good for Norvell down in Florida State. And those are usually some of your respected college teams, college universities, football programs that a lot of people, especially alumni, former players, show a lot of love to, especially when it comes to donating dollars. Because you see some of these facilities they got. All that is generated through booster clubs and former alumni donating money. But no, hey, I can't be mad at it. Hey, the college world is getting crazy. Thursday, when we do our next day show, we'll preview some of these games coming up the upcoming weekend. Obviously, just to kind of preview right now of what we're going to be looking at. Obviously, Illinois is ranked 24. They're going to go to Nebraska, who is ranked 22. That game is going to be Friday, so we'll definitely preview that. Illinois has been very impressive. I can't even lie. Got to give Matt Rule his credit. The job that he was not able to do in Carolina, he's doing right now in Nebraska. In his second year, got them boys ranked. Got that program headed to the right direction. Obviously, doing well out there. Obviously, when Mel gets back on Thursday, we'll probably preview his Michigan Wolverines, ranked the 18th team in the country. They're going to be playing host to a Big Ten conference opponent, USC. It's so weird saying USC is in the Big Ten. Wow, now that's so weird, but we'll preview that matchup. Utah and Oklahoma State, two Big 12 teams. Not used to calling Utah a Big 12 team, but they open up their conference play against Oklahoma State. Both those teams are 3-0. Of course, like I said earlier, in SEC play, so we're calling Oklahoma in the SEC, but they open up against Tennessee. Two 3-0 teams will do battle as well. So looking forward to some good college football. And you got to watch out for Kansas State going on the road. They're 3-0, taking on BYU, who's 3-0. So got to be careful of that matchup. We'll preview that as well on Thursday. But yeah, man, it's going to be some great college football this weekend. That is for damn sure. Let's keep this train moving. We're going to keep it moving. And hey, man, NFL. Always something, never dull on entertainment. Week 2 obviously started off on Thursday night, Bills and the Dolphins. And I just got to say this. I think I'm getting real close. I'm like this close to caving in and eating humble pie about the Buffalo Bills. Because I thought coming into the season, I didn't think they were going to be a good team. I thought they got older on defense, or they weren't getting any younger on defense. You started losing, you're losing some key pieces. You lost Gabe Davis. Obviously, you can't talk about losing Gabe Davis and not talk about the loss of Stephon Diggs. I just thought Buffalo was going to be a bad team. But this is why I'm not ready 100% to go in and eat that humble pie yet, because I got to be honest. We got to be honest. Their first 2 weeks opponents, I got questions about the teams that they played in week 1 and 2. Week 1, they played Arizona. I know Arizona won yesterday, but I'm not moving the needle so crazy to go all in on Arizona as if that was a quality opponent. I'm not. Then you played Miami Dolphins, and at this point, and I got to be honest about Miami. I think Miami Dolphins right now are a mid team. And this was really, I don't know if it's based on the fact that they're losing Tua for a minute. It might be that I think they're mid, because I think that offense they get rolling when Tua's in there. He already got the connection with the receivers. He can move the football. But speaking of Tua, let's have that conversation real quick. All right. Everybody has got their opinion on what Tua should do and what Tua should, how he should approach this situation. And I'm going to be honest. I personally, if I was Tua, I got my money. I want to live a successful, pain-free, be all there type of lifestyle past football. That's just me. I don't want the game to take away my function to be a great spouse, a great friend, son, most importantly, father. I wouldn't want the game to take that away from me, because, we've seen what concussion, CTE has done to other football players. We can't forget what happened with Junior Seau. We can't forget what happened to Jack Tatum. We can't forget what happened to some of these other athletes. A couple of years ago, down in South Carolina, there was a former NFL player, didn't know he had a TBE, CTE, my fault, or traumatic brain injury, and he went out and executed a family before committing suicide. You know, I mean, obviously you can't tell that a person has CTE because they have to be technically, perished to examine their brain to see those type of things. But my thing is me personally, I would want a better quality of life past football. So I'm not going to tell Tua what to do. That's not my job. I don't think it's the job of the doctors or the Miami Dolphins to try to persuade Tua to come back. Tua needs to talk with his family, needs to talk with his wife, and most importantly, he needs to talk to his kids. And of course, depending on the age, they might not be able to understand, but still, you got to have these type of conversations with your family to make this type of decision, because they are the ones who have to be around Tua if there's no football, or if there is football. They're the one that he goes home to. They're the ones that he spends a good portion of his life in time with. So, but I saw an interesting piece because they were talking about this on NFL Live. All right. And obviously you got Randy Moss, you got Teddy Bruschi, you got Alex Smith, and then you got Rex Ryan talking about the Tua situation. And I thought the conversation they had was very productive. I thought it was very thought-provoking, and it shouldn't be about what we think Tua should do. It should be about what Tua and his family should do. So let's take a quick listen.
I talked to my wife about this situation, and the one thing my wife told me, and she's like, babe, when we went to the Hall of Fame in 2018, they had a women's luncheon where the women, it was just all women. And the one thing that really stood out to her at this Hall of Fame luncheon, she said, babe, the one thing that the older wives told us is as your husband gets older, to start looking for symptoms that they gain from the game of football, mainly concussions. So to your point, Teddy, if Tua decides to come back, yes, we are going to root for him and wish him the best. But is this all about Tua? There is life after football. So if I could give my opinion, I think he should really consider sitting down and really understanding what's at stake, because the National Football League did all of these studies. They done put all these movies out. We had, 20-something different helmets, all because of the brain, the concussion. So to me, I really think he needs to really sit down, not with just him and the medical doctors and all. They're thinking about money and the Miami Dolphins. What about his family? That's the people he should help him decide if this is the best in his best interest to go back out and play football.
I mean, it's such, I'm sorry, Rick, it's such a decision, a family decision that my wife went through so much because she thought I was done. Like I said, I retired, but then I tell her my vision's back. I want to play again. And then that's like, I did not get 100% support. I would have been actually I would have been sort of nervous if she said, yeah, get back out there and play. No, it was like, no, you are my husband. You're the father of my three children. Mm-hmm. You're not doing this. So it was conflict at first, but after seeing people, it's like what you have to live with that's what I mean. So I go out there on the field for the first time and she said, all right, we got one rule, and that's the 3-second rule. You get on that ground, and if you're on the ground for more than 3 seconds, I'm coming out there. You better get your butt up. So it's like, what can your wife live with? What can your children live with? What can you live with? That's a big part of it. Absolutely, Randy.
Well, for you and your comeback, like what did you went on to play 4 years after that?
Yeah.
Like what does that mean to you? What do those 4 years mean to you as opposed to if you'd have walked away? Right now, looking back on it, is it meaningful for you?
It was. It's because there's a whole community of stroke survivors that looked to me after that. And I was proud of that. And then, I was proud of the 4 years that I played because so many have come up to me and said, they went to, they had the similar process that I had in my heart. They've had strokes they've had to get over. And, it gave them hope. Yeah. And that was a different piece for me that was special.
I only asked that real quick because, there were a lot of people that said the same thing about me coming back, that it was crazy, right? people that had no business interjecting on it. And my life is incredibly different because I did it. Incredibly different. I'm a better father and husband, right? Because of it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So there you go, right there. Alex Smith chiming in at the end of that. Teddy Bruschi definitely had his part to saying that, and Randy Moss speaking on the Tua Tagovailoa situation. And hey, I mean, I think those gentlemen said it best. I think they said it fantastically, especially Teddy Bruschi. Y'all remember his situation. That man had a stroke, and he ended up coming back and playing 4 more years of football. You heard what he said right there. He was like, I was met with resistance at first. My wife was like, no, I need you here with me, with your kids. That's what I cherish more instead of the football player. But he made the decision to come back. And, you know, that was his decision to make. He mulled over it. He talked to his family and made that decision. Same with Alex Smith. You can't forget about his leg injury. Yes, his leg injury was gruesome. But what made it worse is that because of the surgery that had happened, he ended up getting an infection. Literally, an infection, and could have died on the surgery table. So he literally faced life and death situation. He chose to come back. He chose to consult with his wife, his children, and he made that decision. That's what Tua needs to do. He can't listen to me. He can't listen to you. He damn sure can't listen to the Dolphins organization or the doctors that work for the Dolphins organization. Because to Randy Moss's point, which I'm definitely going to point out, he said their interest is in the money in the team that they get paid by. Those doctors who are quote unquote the experts, those team doctors, they get a check. They may have certain practices outside of the team and certain, you know, people that they may work for medically outside of the team. But Randy's point is spot on. Them team doctors get a check just like the players do from the same owner, Stephen Ross, who owns the organization. You think those team doctors' best interest is going to have Tua's best interest at heart, or the person that signs your check? Hey, let's be realistic about this situation. Some of those team doctors don't give a damn about these players. Like how you know, if I'm Tua, I'm not going to put your life in your hands. Speaking of which, the same doctors that probably were on the staff that misdiagnosed you a couple of years ago when one of those concussions happened. You know, I damn sure ain't got no trust and faith in y'all. Y'all, some of them bitches didn't let me go back out and play football 2 years ago after some concussions. Right? And I'm supposed to trust you now? That needs to be a decision for Tua to make. And I think that's what it is right there. But back to football action, as we transition back to football action, I'm not ready to go ahead and go all in on the Buffalo Bills saying that they're a good team yet. I'm just not, because there's some things missing with the Dolphins besides the quarterback position that I think they lack. They should have lost that game against Jacksonville last week, if we're being quite honestly and frank. I'm not ready to put stock in beating Arizona and Miami right yet. But I will say this, Von Miller is looking very impressive. For 35 years old, he's looking as quick as a hiccup. And he's been getting after it. That's for sure. I won't take that away from Von Miller. He's been getting after it on that defensive side of the football, been sacking quarterbacks like crazy. Browns, Jaguars, not a great day for Trevor Lawrence. Not a great day at all. Very pedestrian, right under 50% completion percentage, 14 of 30. Hey, that's what happens when you go against tough competition in that defensive side of the ball with Cleveland. But hey, at some point in time, I keep saying it, Trevor Lawrence is going to have to show up. He's going to have to show up. Of course, he had a fumble. It didn't get lost, but there he goes again. Mr. Turnover. Tried to tell you. He didn't have an interception, so I'll give him that. But still, not a productive game in completion percentage-wise. Deshaun Watson, I didn't play that great either. 22 of 34, only 186 yards, didn't throw for a touchdown. He was able to get a rushing touchdown, 5 carries for 20 yards, but, he's not getting his offense rolling. I mean, it was an okay game. This is probably one of his better games, seeing as the last 13 previous games in a Cleveland Browns uniform, he only played good for damn near only a second half. Hey, eventually they got to start getting that production for that money that they gave this man. They ain't gonna be, too happy about hey man, you're getting paid pretty handsomely, and not only. Never mind, I was gonna say something, but dog, let's keep it on the field. It's like, bro, you're not rocking. We thought we was getting 2019 Deshaun Watson. They're not getting that. Not so far. If you would have told me right now that Deshaun Watson would have fallen off the cliff quarterback wise, I'd have called you a liar, because he was. It was just 4 years ago we was talking about him as one of the most elite quarterbacks in the NFL, which is crazy how far he's came down. The Raiders get a win in Baltimore. I didn't see that one coming. Who had the Raiders beating the Ravens on their bingo card? Raise your hand, because I sure as hell didn't. Devontae Adams, I know he had a couple of drops, but hey, 9 catches, 110 yards, gets a TD in there. He did his thing. Raiders missed Jacobs. They missed Josh Jacobs. 17 carries as a team, only 27 yards. Yeah, they missed Josh Jacobs. Should have ponied up that money. But obviously the talk is going to be about the Ravens now off to an 0-2 start. I say this, don't freak out, y'all. Ravens flock, don't freak out. This team is going to be fine. But I'm going to say this. This is why you play preseason. I know. Oh, preseason shouldn't matter. It does. It's not about the wins and losses in preseason. It's about getting into rhythm. It's about getting familiar, especially when you have some roster changes. Out goes Odell Beckham. In comes Derrick Henry. You want to get into a rhythm. First of all, you're talking about a running back and Derrick Henry who never really played in the shotgun with Tennessee all that much. He was either a single back or, had a fullback with him. Either way, he's used to being in the backfield by himself, not standing next to a quarterback. In Baltimore, Lamar Jackson doesn't go under center, not even close, nearly as much as he is in the shotgun. So they still haven't figured out that dynamic of not only the placement of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, because Derrick Henry really wasn't running a lot of option like that. Not like that. He had some option plays, of course, because Tannehill was there, and then you would have some option plays in there because if Derrick Henry's rolling, you would fake like you would give him the ball, and Tannehill had some solid mobility that he would be able to get a solid run game. But you didn't run a lot of option in Tennessee. So you come to Baltimore, Lamar Jackson is more of an option quarterback. He's not your typical under center quarterback. So there's a gap in there. There was some time that they should have been working on that and getting in rhythm with each other in preseason. And it showed in week 1 against the Chiefs, and it showed against the Raiders yesterday. Still got some offensive line issues. Max Crosby, I think had about 2 sacks in that game. He did his thing. So it's not like, when you got a bad offensive line, you can't be going up against certain pass rushers like a Max Crosby or Chris Jones in 2 consecutive weeks with a patchwork trying to get in rhythm offensive line. It just didn't make sense. So Ravens are off to a slow start, but I wouldn't trip about it. Ravens fly. I think they'll be better. The Jets still, they was able to get a victory, but I'm just going to say this. When you struggle with a mid-team like Tennessee, and then you get the doors blown off you by an elite team like San Francisco 49ers last week, I don't know where you're at because I don't know if you mid. I don't know if you should contend with elite teams because we already saw so far you get blown out by the elite teams in the NFL, and you struggle with it with a mid team at best, Tennessee. So I mean, I'm not sure what the makeup of the Jets. But speaking of the 49ers, wow, I did not see that happening. That they were going to go to Minnesota and absolutely, offensive wise, for the most part, kind of struggled. I know Brock Purdy threw for 319 yards, but the man got sacked 6 times. Wow. 6 times? Threw an interception. I mean, what's going on with that? We know Trent Williams is good, but should we start questioning the rest of the offensive line? I know they had some injuries on the O-line going into that game, but man, I did not expect the 49ers to struggle on the road. Now there's 2 years in a row that they can't get a W in Minnesota. But I did see a crazy stat. Apparently, they just can't win in Minnesota, period. I think the last time they won in Minnesota was when I saw this the graphic for it. I think they said 1992 was the last time they got a dub in Minnesota. That's crazy. Jordan Mason balled again, 20 carries, 100 yards in the TD. That's why you go ahead and put Christian McCaffrey on IR. It makes total sense. Go ahead, get healthy, CMC. If you're just going to miss 4 weeks, get it out early in the beginning of the season because you're not going to be out of your division. You won't, standing wise, you're 1-1. I still think you're the better team in your division. I still think you're better than Seattle. I damn sure think you're better than Arizona. And I damn sure think you're better than the Rams. I mean, it's no rush. Get healthy. You got a calf situation. We don't want it to be an Achilles situation. Get healthy. Jordan Mason is doing just fine. And if you ain't picked him up on fantasy team when you need a running back, it's too late now. He gone now. Especially after his performance last week against the Jets. He gone. So I think he's going to continue to do those great things in a 49ers uniform. I was damn sure for a fact surprised about Sam Darnold's performance. I was surprised about it. But I shouldn't have been. And here's the reason why. Leading up to the season, I had my man Rhino on from Vikings Uncensored. Check out their podcast. And we talked about, Sam Darnold succeed being in Minnesota, especially after the fact that we knew J.J. McCarthy is going to be out for the whole season and lose his rookie season. Let's just listen to what my man Rhino had to say in reference of this.
I guess, the way we're looking with Sam Darnold, he's number 3 overall pick back in his draft class, went to the Jets, went to Carolina, neither place really had anything around him as far as, top tier talent. So him stepping into the situation we have with Justin Jefferson, with Jordan Addison, with TJ Hawkinson coming back in about a month, Aaron Jones at running back. Now, if Sam Darnold is going to succeed anywhere, it's going to be here with these weapons that we have, and a coach, Kevin O'Connell, who was a former quarterback. We have Darnold's old teammate, McCown, in here as a quarterbacks coach now. So, that stuff it's set up for Sam to succeed if he can succeed. Now, with that being said, our defense is much improved this year, and we have the mad scientist Brian Flores running the show there. I think we probably will end up leaning on our defense to win us some games this year. But as it sits and the way this team is constructed, even with Sam Darnold, I think we're a wild card team.
There it is. Shout out to my man Rhino, Vikings Uncensored. Y'all go check out their podcast. I had him on a couple of weeks back, right before the season started, just to pick his brain on a life with Sam Darnold. And so far, Sam Darnold is looking like one of the better quarterbacks right now in the NFL. He is. I'm just being honest. I've never been a big Sam Darnold fan. I did, however, thought that had he had a chance to play in San Francisco with the talent that he had around him, he actually would have been very serviceable and played pretty damn good. To Serrano's point, when you have talent around him, you got a defense, as they give you 6 sacks against Brock Purdy, helping you on that side of the football. You got Jordan Addison, didn't play yesterday, but still, Justin Jefferson, Hawkinson's going to be coming back. Solid running back in Aaron Jones. So I just got to give it to my man Rhino. He saw it before I think the NFL world did. And just got to give credit to Sam Darnold. All right. Been playing really well, playing damn good football so far in these first 2 weeks. Will it change? I don't think it'll be sustainable. I don't know. I don't think so. Just because of what we've seen of Sam Darnold, is nothing been sustainable. But obviously, we got to keep an eye out on that injury with Justin Jefferson, who left the game early. You got to keep an eye on that. Hope nothing's severe with that situation. And honestly, there's going to be some times where there's going to be some defenses that's going to challenge Sam Darnold like no other. But 17 of 26, 268 yards, a TD. He did have the one interception, but I mean, he's doing his job. He is doing his job. And he's looking like one of the better quarterbacks right now. He just is. I love my boy Patrick Mahomes, but struggled like hell yesterday. We'll talk about that game later. But there's other quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers hasn't came back to full form yet. We can talk about that. The struggles of Deshaun Watson, well precedented so far. Trevor Lawrence is struggling. Daniel Jones, he's still trash. Dak Prescott. We'll definitely talk about that in just a second. But Sam Darnold is in a situation for him to succeed, got talent around him, has a capable defense on the other side, and a coach that believes in him. Coaching matters. Situations matter for these quarterbacks, y'all. We just got to, we can't forget Sam Darnold came into the league, one of the top 5 picks in his draft class, goes to a bad franchise in the Jets, had nothing around him to help him succeed, goes to Carolina, another bad franchise, has little to nothing around him to help him succeed, had to sit for a minute. Now he's a starter because of injury, because the way it was looking, it looked like they were still going to go with J.J. McCarthy as a starter. But so far, 2 games in, Sam Darnold is taking advantage of his situation, and he's showing that, hey, in the right, circumstances, I can play quarterback in this league. And so far, 2 games in, he's proven such that. So can't be mad at that. Chargers and Panthers, come on, Panthers are trash. Obviously, y'all saw they made a quarterback change today. I'll talk about that a little bit more in depth on tonight's episode of the Late Night Owl Show. So on my Late Night Owl sports fans, tap in on I.O.W Sports Network channel. We'll dive more deep into that conversation, because I can see both sides of that, and I want to go more in depth on that. We only got about 10 minutes left in the show, and I'm gonna be really chatty about that subject, and so we'll talk about that later tonight. But Panthers are not a good team. Chargers get their second win now. They're 2-0. Seahawks get the dub over New England. I'm gonna say this again. Them damn Patriots, that defense is gonna keep them in some games. All right. I'm not expecting much from their offense. The fact that they put up 20 points it shocked the hell out of me. But I'm just going to be honest. That defense is going to keep them in some games. I thought that they were going to be a real piss poor team. They're looking more mid because that defense is definitely going to keep them in some games. Are they going to be able to get enough offense? Cowboys and Saints. Woo, yeah, let's talk about them Cowboys. What before I go to Ian on the Cowboys, I just got to say this. Man, I might have been wrong about Derek Carr in New Orleans. They got a new OC down there, offensive coordinator. Forgive me for not knowing his name, but he's playing to Derek Carr's strength. Get the football out of his hands and get it to his playmakers. Hey, you got a playmaker in Alvin Kamara. They finally got smart and used him. Imagine that. Imagine using a weapon. Use them. Boy, they are now the highest scoring team in the NFL. They are ridiculous right now. They have scored 91 points. 47 points last week. 44 on Sunday. They are by far within the first 2 weeks of the NFL the most explosive offense right now. They are, because that's a damn good defense in Dallas, or at least I thought it was. But it's not. It may not even be the defensive fault. Come on now. I'm just gonna say it. Dak Prescott has not earned that contract so far. I repeat, Dak Prescott has not earned that contract extension so far. He has been bad to high at best, not even mid. Last week against a good defense in Cleveland, didn't play too well. He was very pedestrian. He was pedestrian yesterday against the Saints, another good defense. So is this what $60 million gets you, Jerry? Because me personally, y'all heard my take. I didn't think that he would do it. I didn't think that Jerry would sign that to the extension, and he was going to find a way to get some compensation back for him and find a way to get Shedeur Sanders. That was my take. I didn't think he was going to sign him. But now that you have signed him to his extension, Dak ain't earned that money. You paid him for his past, and he's putting up great numbers. Obviously, when it comes to playoff times, it's not just solely on him, but with him as a quarterback, you can't get out the second round. What he's doing so far in these first two games, is that you sure you got return on investment, Jerry? Because fact of the matter is, if you're struggling with these better defenses in the regular season, what do you think you're facing in the playoffs? You're facing the best of the best at that point in time. So I hate to break it to you, Cowboys fans. Whew. They ain't looking too pretty. I get it. It's 1-1. Team is 2 weeks in the season. I'm not saying they're going to be out of playoff contention. I'm not saying that. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying. The Cowboys will be in the hunt for the NFC East like they always are because there's too much talent on the team. They'll probably be a playoff team just like any other year because they have the talent on the team. It's not about the regular season with the Cowboys. It never is. We know they're going to get 10, 11, 12 wins. We know that. This is what y'all do January. That's why non-Cowboys fans give that team so much crap. Because we know you're going to get to double-digit wins. What the hell y'all going to do when it comes to playoff time? And right now, if Dak is playing like this, come on, man. They had to put Cooper Rush in and finish the game. I know the game was out of reach and wasn't no point to keep him in there. But when you got to sit down because your team is getting your ass kicked, that ain't never a good sign. Giants and Commanders. And you know how bad you got to be as a football team to score more than one touchdown, all right? You scored more than one touchdown. You allow 0 touchdowns for your opponent, and you still lose? Do you know how trash you got to be? All right, I tried to give Brian Daboll his leeway, his all right, they shouldn't fire you. I'm leaning towards to putting your ass on the hot list. I might have to change up my coach's hot seat list and might have to put Brian Daboll's name on there because I cannot justify you getting points in the end zone, not allowing your opponent to get in the end zone, and you still lose. You lost to a kicker who kicked 7 field goals yesterday. 7 field goals beat you. Wow. Buccaneers Lions, what a great game. It wasn't high scoring. Okay, here's another humble pie moment for me. Damn, I might have been wrong about Baker. Just like Sam Darnold, he's playing better quarterback than some quarterbacks in the league right now. He just is. I'm just being honest. Packers Saints. I'm off Packers Colts. Not a great game from Malik Willis. Just enough game from Malik Willis. He did just enough against a solid defense in the Colts. The Colts are getting, let's be honest, they're getting let down by their second-year quarterback, Anthony Richardson. I thought Anthony Richardson was going to be better than this. Still, I think he will be. He didn't play too well yesterday. You can't throw 3 interceptions in this league and think you're going to win. Point blank period. Just doesn't happen. That's just what it is. Rams Cardinals. I see Kyler Murray finally got smart and made sure you get the damn ball to Marvin Harrison Jr. Oh, that man's going to be good. Marvin Harrison he's going to be phenomenal. 2 TDs yesterday. I know y'all saw that toe drag swag he had as he dragged his feet to get that touchdown in the back of the end zone. Wow, that was a beautiful catch. Beautiful catch. So far, Kyler Murray's been doing well. Went 17 of 21 yesterday. I wasn't surprised that the Rams lost because I picked the Cardinals in this game. Too many injuries on that Rams offensive side. Puka Nacua already on IR. Matthew Stafford already lost his left tackle and his left guard. They didn't play yesterday. Not sure the length of those injuries, but it just wasn't going to be good. Too many injuries. Steelers and Broncos, snooze fest. That was 13-6. Again, Bo Nix struggles again. 2 more interceptions. Still hasn't thrown a touchdown yet. I don't know what to tell you. I'll be honest. I think it's kind of laughable. Breaking news. And of course, as we talk about the Rams with injuries, Cooper Kupp expected to miss multiple weeks and possibly an IR visit. So, yeah. But no. It's crazy, man. Steelers, I've said this last week. Look, Justin Fields did not go crazy on the numbers. 13 of 20, 117 yards in the TD. Look, Steelers are built to run the football, play defense. This is why I think that's a perfect spot for Russ. But he's injured right now. They're letting Justin get the reps as a starter. I don't think it really matters who they got in there. I think the offensive philosophy still stays the same. Let's try to establish the run. Obviously, we'll let our pass game. I keep tongue-tying myself. Our pass game will be predicated off our success of the run. So I'm not surprised by that. Denver, man. I'm laughing at these Denver folks because Sean Payton is the Doc Rivers of the NFL. That man's been living off that damn 09 championship. They keep quoting this guy as a quarterback whisperer. What quarterback did he make good? And before y'all fix y'all lips to say Drew Brees, that's cap. Drew Brees was already a great quarterback, an accurate quarterback, had all the skills to be a phenomenal quarterback in this league when he was already playing for San Diego. Only reason why San Diego didn't keep him They said, "Oh man, we were worried about that shoulder injury to his throwing arm. There's no way he's going to be as good as he was when we drafted him." So no, I ain't trying to hear that. He didn't make it. Drew Brees. It's looking like Drew Brees made Sean Payton, because what has he done since Drew Brees? Jameis Winston, he already had the right tools to be a great quarterback. He was a backup. Taysom Hill, you tried to turn Taysom Hill was a college quarterback. You converted him to tight end, and now you wanted him back at quarterback. That didn't work out, right? He didn't try everything post Drew Brees. Goes to Denver. As Russell Wilson have a 26 touchdown, 8 interception, threw for almost 3,100 yards last year, but he thought, "Oh, I don't like him. I inherited him. I don't like him." Excuse me, 26 touchdowns is a solid passing year for a quarterback. You know, it'll get you to the playoffs, especially the way if your roster is set up right. 26 touchdowns and 3,100 passing yards can get you at least to the playoffs. I'm just being honest. I know a couple of teams that could have used that production, but whatever. And then Sunday Night Football, Bears and Texans. I might have been wrong about the Bears defense. All right. I kind of thought that what's his name? Will Levis gave him that game last week. He did. And I thought it was more Will Levis was bad quarterbacking last week, and not necessarily the defense made him look so bad. It was himself. But it might be a mixture of both now. Looking at that Bears defense last night, their game. And this Chicago Bears team, they're going to need it. They're going to need it because 2 weeks in, I've been correct about Caleb Williams. He can't read the field. He thinks he's in the Pac-12. He keeps throwing in triple coverage. He thinks he can make every throw. He needs to take what the defense can give him. To his credit, there were a couple of throws that I was like, "Oh, okay, that was a nice throw right there." But besides that, there were overthrows, and there was just boneheaded plays. Those 2 interceptions were crazy. He's yet to throw a touchdown in his NFL season yet. I know it's 2 weeks, but still. You went up against a solid defense in Tennessee. Barely didn't even crack 100 passing yards. You going against an elite defense. Yeah, you were able to get 174 yards, but you thought that you was the man. You threw 2 boneheaded interceptions. The last one into triple coverage. You had a receiver on the sideline and 3 Texans surrounding him. That was boneheaded. But it's not all Caleb Williams' fault, and I will not put all the blame on him. I gotta put the blame on the front office, because you're doing the same thing to Caleb Williams that you did to Justin Fields. You're not protecting him. This offensive line is not good. It is terrible. You didn't invest in it good enough. You should have learned your lesson after you had Justin Fields. You tried to make him the scapegoat and said he just wasn't good. But how could you know? You didn't protect him. That offensive line been piss poor. It was piss poor before Justin Fields got there. It was piss poor while he was there. And guess what? It's still piss poor now that you go out and get Caleb Williams at the number 1 overall pick. That offensive line is trash. You're not doing you're not helping Caleb Williams, but he also isn't helping himself. The man got sacked 7 times last week, and I'm not surprised that happened at all. That's crazy work. You can't expect the number 1 overall pick to succeed when you don't protect for him. This man been sacked 9 times in 2 weeks. All right, you think you're going to be successful averaging 4.5 sacks to your quarterback every game? Good luck. Good luck, Chicago. It wasn't Justin Fields who failed y'all. Y'all failed him, and you made him the scapegoat. Don't turn around and do the same thing to Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams also has to know that this ain't the Pac-12. You ain't just going to throw it in triple coverage and think you can make that throw. You're facing the premier athletes who play football on the planet Earth. Come on now. What are we doing? Let's preview real quick before we get up out of here. You got Falcons, Eagles tonight. Monday Night Football is going down. I'm going to pick the Eagles to win. I went 31-24. I have a hard time trusting Kirk Cousins in primetime games. That's the word I was looking for. I have a hard time trusting him. The record isn't good. A lot more losses than there have wins. All right. Here's the saving grace for Atlanta. AJ Brown will be out. That's one less weapon you do not have to account for on defense, which to my account, I think Atlanta has a good defense. They did not allow Pittsburgh to score a touchdown at all last week. But the fact of the matter is that these Kirk Cousins, he got to show up when it matters. Primetime game, spotlight's on you. Is you versus Jalen Hurts. I just don't trust Kirk Cousins in primetime games, not at all. But I'm not absolving Jalen Hurts. The numbers were not too bad last week, passing wise and touchdown wise. But he got to clean up these careless interceptions that he threw against the Packers defense last week. It was like I was like, damn, some of these throws that you're just throwing, bro, is just those two interceptions he threw was in double coverage. Just wasn't good. And what are we doing, bro? Can't do it. And with AJ Brown being out tonight, you're going to have more of a presence from Jalen Hurts. He's going to have to make sure he hits Devontae Smith, hit the other wide receivers they got. They traded for Jahan Dotson at the end of preseason. You're going to need him tonight. Luckily, you got Saquon Barkley, who had a great game against the Packers last week. He's going to have to recreate it and probably give a little bit more. He's going against a good defense. And he's going to have to get that running game established. He's going to have to. The Eagles are going to have to get him going. You got to lighten up that box. You got to make it a little bit easier for Jalen Hurts because he's going up against a good defense. But a great secondary. They got 3 possible Pro Bowlers in that secondary. AJ Terrell on one side as a corner. Your safeties, Jesse Bates, Justin Simmons. They added Judon next to Grady Jarrett. So they're getting pressure up front. So we can't act like they're not a bad defensive team. Eagles secondary got to get right though. Ooh, them boys was giving up the cheeks to Jordan Love last week. You can't. Hey, say what you want about Kirk Cousins. I think he exploded for a couple of touchdowns against Philly last year in Philly in a Monday night game. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a couple of good touchdown passes in tonight's game. I wouldn't be surprised. That Eagles secondary is shaky. It's shaky. All right. Only thing that's more shaky than that secondary is a stripper at Magic City. That's the only thing shaky. A little bit more shaky than that. But I'm still rocking with the Eagles because I just don't trust Kurt in primetime games. So, hey, just being honest, y'all. Being honest. Hey, man, I'm going to get up out of here. Again, tap in with me later tonight as I do the I.O.W. Sports Late Night Owl Edition show. I'll be doing that midnight Eastern Standard Time, 11 Central. And I'll be doing that Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesdays. So we'll definitely recap the Monday Night Football game. And like I said earlier, I definitely want to examine this Bryce Young situation because I think it's a lot of layers to that situation and how the Panthers came up to this decision to bench him 2 games in. But we'll have that conversation tonight. And hey, until then, you know what it is. All the social media platforms right there for I.O.W. Sports Network is right there. All right. You want to chop it up with me personally? Go right there. AC Wildcard Mar on the Twitter. And hey, that's where I'll be posting all the content that I'll be doing. And you can tap in with me personally. Other than that, go enjoy your Monday night football game between the Eagles and Falcons. And enjoy the rest of your week, man. It's been a great Monday so far. Just keep it going. Let's have a great Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Get to that weekend. Spend some time with your loved ones, with your kin folks. And until then, we'll be back Thursday afternoon, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another episode of the I.O.W. Sports Show. Boy, Wildcard Mar, signing off. You know what the deal is. Take care of yourselves. Take care of